All right, welcome back to WMMA Now with your host, Chuck Stevenson. Tonight, we're going to be doing a preview for the ladies' bouts of UFC Vegas 61, aka UFC Fight Night, Dern versus Yan. We've got 3 ladies' bouts coming at you this evening. One is a catchweight, one at, one at actually, and then the next 2 are at strawweights. Both of the next 2 are at strawweights. 2 of these bouts are going to have rankings potential, both of them being the strawweight bouts. Definitely have ranking implications. So let's go ahead and get into these bouts. So first up, we have the catchweight bout. Julija Stoliarenko taking on Chelsea Chandler. This is Chandler's UFC debut. So be interesting to see how she fares in the big show. She's been doing well down in Invicta. Stoliarenko coming off of basically a bone-breaking submission win in her last bout over Jessica Rose Clark. So should make things very interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats on this one. So Stoliarenko coming in at 10-6-1. Chandler coming in at 4-1. Stoliarenko, as you can see, coming off that win over Jessica Rose Clark about just under 3 months ago. Before that, was riding a 3-fight losing streak, 2 by decision, 1 by submission. Chandler, on the other hand, lost her pro debut and has since won 4 straight. All of her fights have come under the Invicta banner. Her last fight was 4 months ago, where she defeated Courtney King via decision. Let's see. Chandler is 1 year younger, 28, to Stoliarenko's 29 years. Looks like Chandler slightly taller at 5 feet 8 inches, 173 centimeters to 5'7", 170 centimeters for Stoliarenko. However, according to Topology, they have an identical reach of 69 inches, 175 centimeters. So those are your stats on this one. So I'm going to be taking Julija Stoliarenko for this one. I mean, Chandler has some heavy hands, but nothing I think that Stoliarenko hasn't seen before. Stoliarenko has been in there with some absolutely heavy-handed opponents, and she's not easy to finish. And I think what's going to happen is Stoliarenko is going to look to come out and do the same thing she does a lot of her fights, go out there and get that early armbar. And I haven't seen enough of Chandler's grappling to really be all that impressed. I mean, I know she trains she has trained with the Diaz brothers before, but hasn't really looked like it to me. I'm going to take Stoliarenko by submission. Now, whether or not it happens in the first round, not sure, but I am going to take Stoliarenko by decision. She's a more experienced fighter. She's been in there with much better caliber of opponents than Chandler has. And I just think that, she has more grit, I think, and has more ways to win. So then we move on to a strawweight bout. This is also, I believe, on the prelims. Jessica Penne, the number 15th ranked strawweight, taking on Tabitha Ricci, who is currently unranked. And by the way, shout out to, I forget his name, on Instagram for this poster and the other one. Let me put his name up here. Danilo Almeida on Instagram did this poster and the one for Chandler versus Stoliarenko. So check out Danilo Almeida art on Instagram. But this should be a good one. 2 very good grapplers who absolutely know what they're doing on the ground. I mean, Ricci's a stud on the ground, but Penne, very heavy control on the ground. Also a black belt. Probably not the same level of black belt as Ricci, but she is one of the most flexible fighters you will ever see. And she's very tall and long and really knows how to use those legs on the ground. So this should be interesting. Let's go ahead and look at the stats on this one. Penne coming in at 14-6. Baby Shark coming in at 7-1. Now, Penny's coming in off of a decision loss to Emily Ducote 2 months ago. Had 2 straight wins before that over Lupita Godinez and then Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Ricci coming in on 2 straight wins over Maria Oliveira and then Polyana Viana, both by decision. And that was after she took a short notice flyweight fight, which was her UFC debut, which she lost. Age is a big factor in this fight. Ricci is 27 to 39 years for Jessica Penne, so 12-year age difference. Pretty big. But look at this height difference here. 5'5", 166 centimeters, and I honestly thought Penne was taller than that, to 5'1", 155 centimeters for Ricci. And then the reach extends that well too. 67 inches, 170 centimeters for Penne, 62 inches, 157 centimeters for Tabitha Ricci. So I'm taking Jessica Penne to win this one. On the feet, Penne has the length, she has the reach, and I just haven't seen that much out of Ricci on the feet to really be that impressed by her. And I mean, if it gets into the clinch, Penne definitely with the knees in the clinch. Now on the ground is where things get really interesting. But I still think Penne is going to have a better time on the ground. Now Ricci is phenomenal grappler, like very high level, has won like serious, grappling competitions. I think either Pan Am or world champion. But she's very small for a UFC strawweight, whereas Penne is definitely not. And Ricci has struggled against bigger strawweights before. Maria Oliveira and Polyana Viana, both bigger, had nice size advantages on Ricci, and Ricci, struggled with them on the ground, couldn't quite get the finish here. So I'm going to go with Jessica Penne. Also, just the age is going to play a factor. Penne might tire out, but she also just has so much more high-level MMA experience than Tabitha Ricci does. So I'm going to go with Jessica Penne. So then we move on to the main event at strawweight, number 5 ranked strawweight Mackenzie Dern taking on 6th ranked Yan Xiaonan. This is going to be an interesting bout. It's not the strongest main event, but it's the strongest main event viable fight on this card. I think a lot of this bout is going to come down to who is less sloppy or who can make their sloppiness work for them. And I'll get to that in a minute. But let's get into the stats on this one. So Dern coming in at 12-2. Yan coming in at 15-3. So Yan has more experience, one more loss than Dern, though. Dern coming in off of a split decision win over Tecia Torres 5 months ago. Before that, lost a decision to Marina Rodriguez just under a year ago. Before that was riding a winning streak. Yan, however, has lost 2 straight. First to Carla Esparza via TKO on the ground a year and 4 months ago. And then most recently dropped a split decision, very contentious split decision to Marina Rodriguez 6 months ago. Before that, she hadn't lost since 2010. So she'd gone over a decade without losing. Let's see here. Youth favors Dern. She's 29 to 33 years old for Yan. Yan slightly taller, 5 feet 5 inch, 166 centimeters to 5'4", 163 centimeters for Dern. 63 identical reach here at 63 inches, 160 centimeters. Okay, so I was saying who fights less sloppy or who can make their sloppiness work for them. They're both brawlers on the feet. Okay, I mean, neither of them are the most technical of strikers on the feet. Now, Yan has way, way more weapons on the feet than Mackenzie Dern does. Dern basically comes forward winning huge punches in order, and the whole purpose of that is to get into the clinch and try to work for takedowns from there. Yan will throw punches. She'll throw kicks. She'll throw low kicks. She'll throw side kicks. She'll throw push kicks. She'll use her footwork more. Dern doesn't really have that kind of footwork. Yan is definitely the more versatile, more multi-dimensional striker. But that said, she mostly throws like the same few combinations, and they're not the tightest, I should say. And she can be, forced into the clinch. We saw that in the Rodriguez fight. Like I said, Dern is mostly focused on getting the fight to the ground, and she'll force her way into the clinch to do that. She'll come barreling forward, winning big punches, and she'll eat a punch to land a punch, and she'll eat a punch in order to get to that clinch. She's very strong chin. It's one of those cases where until someone really rings her bell or knocks her out, that's pretty much going to be the extent of what she does on the feet, because no one is forcing her to improve on that factor. Now, on the ground, Yan does not want to be on the ground with Dern. That's a known factor. The question is going to be, can Dern get it there? Because let's be honest here, Dern does not have good takedowns. She's still very much a BJJ fighter when it comes to the ground, which means her takedowns are suck, basically. That's why she basically has to get to the clinch and then muscle opponents to the ground, because her takedowns just aren't that good. However, like I said, whoever is the least sloppiest or whoever makes their sloppiness works for them. Yan basically has to fight an almost perfect fight to win. I just don't see her finishing Mackenzie Dern on the feet. Certainly don't see her finishing her on the ground. I mean, that's just not realistic. I don't see her being able to finish Dern on the feet, though. Dern has just shown herself to be too durable on the feet, as it were. So Yan basically has to fight a perfect fight on the feet, avoid the clinch for the most part, and stay striking at range, stay landing good strikes, avoid having her kicks caught, which can set up a takedown. She just has to be so tight and just so precise in everything that she does. Now, I can certainly see her doing that for a round or two, but she's going to have to do it for 5 straight rounds, 25 minutes. For Dern, she really only needs to get this fight to the ground once per round, we'll say, if it even gets to another round after she gets it to the ground. Now, like I said, what she does best is barreling forward, throwing those winning punches, and she does manage to find the clinch against her opponents more often than not. The problem with Yan's problem is that she doesn't have the best takedown defense. Now, granted, we've only really seen her taken to the ground by Carla Esparza, who is the best wrestler in the division right now. But I can definitely see Dern managing to get her there as well if Yan isn't careful. And like I said, Yan cannot make any mistakes in this bout. I see that being a very difficult time for her. So I can definitely see Dern eating a few punches, getting into the clinch, and then getting Yan to the ground. And from there, it's practically just a matter of time. So I'll be cheering for Yan Xiaonan because I am not a Mackenzie Dern fan, but I will be picking Mackenzie Dern to win this bout. So there you have it. My picks for UFC Vegas 61, aka UFC Fight Night. Dern versus Yan. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please hit that like button. Go ahead, subscribe to WMAC Now, the best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.